From News Channel 8, this is High School Sports Final.
Hey there, and thanks for joining us for High School Sports Final. I'm your host, Monica McNutt. Hopefully you've thawed out from the freezing weather and snow, because with all the closing and delays, there's loads of winter sports for us to make up in a short amount of time. Everyone is in playoff mode. It was a house party in Springdale. We'll explain why a little bit later. Flowers hosting Duval, winter homecoming, and the Jags, they did not disappoint. Duval's going to start us off as Khalil Newkirk finds his stroke, knocks down the J, getting things going for the Tigers. Flowers, though, on the other side, they would opt to go inside. Elliott Brown had a big game up and under there. More from him in a few. Duval, on the other end, content to shoot from the outside. You take what the defense gives you. Kevin Simpson takes that three ball to the bottom of the net. Then Trent Watson here. He looks like Play from Kid and Play. Remember the house party reference? Anyway, he gets the shot to fall there with a little jazz on the finish. Tyreek Campbell, more Flowers crossing at half court, crosses over and gets the finish. It's an and one. Campbell had 8 points. Remember Elliott Brown? We tried more from him. Here it is. He had 19 points as the Jags get the win over the Tigers. Flowers wins this one 52-43. A matchup in the ranks of the private schools, Landon at Georgetown Pratt in the IAC playoffs. Check out all that Hoya Saxon spirit from the Little Hoyas. Okay, in the game, though, Kevin McDonald knocks down the jump shot, because that's what basketball is about. Aaron Bird here, he's going to split two guys. I mean, that's easy, right? Finishes with a nice touch using the glass. That's 2 points. Allen Robinson pushing ahead. He's going to find Brian Dempsey, who steps inside the arc and knocks it down. Nice, smooth, and in rhythm. That's always the key. Landon on offense here. Keith Sims goes up, but the ball comes back down, courtesy of Tyler White with that emphatic defense. Dempsey here. White not only blocks, but he runs the floor, too, on the receiving end of that pass there, cashing it in for two. Georgetown Prep wins this one 70-57. Time to honor one of our area's best and brightest stars. We bring to you now our Athlete of the Week, presented by our friends at Itility. Our Athlete of the Week this week put in work, scoring 43 points in the semifinal win and then 31 points in the championship of the Interscholastic Athletic Association of Maryland B title game. 19th ranked Annapolis area Christian girls basketball won their first title thanks in part to one of the area's best players. Taylor Murray was a star. The 5'6" point guard averaged more than 36 points, 9 boards, 5 steals, and 3 assists over the 3-game conference tournament. Coach Victor Watson says of Murray, it's unbelievable to have a player like her. Now that she's a champion, she gets ready for the 2015 McDonald's All-American game. And then it's off to Kentucky in the fall. So congrats to Taylor Murray, our Itility Athlete of the Week. Lots of games to get to, and we're just getting started here on High School Sports Final. Up next, our game of the night. 2 teams ranked at #1 at some point this season square off for the WCAC's bragging rights. Plus, Forestville basketball has their own knight in shining armor, the incredible story of one of their coaches. And don't forget, for the latest scores and highlights of featured games, you can log on to hssportsfinal.com. Way back at the beginning of the season, Paul VI, the WCAC's defending champs, were the #1 team. But the Panthers faced a tough schedule and a roster that was depleted by graduation and transfers. And it showed. The Panthers fell out of the top 20 by the middle of January. Fortunately, Coach Glenn Farello had a little magic up his sleeve and has Paul VI playing well when it matters most. This week, before all the snow, they faced the #1 team in the area, Mike Jones and the DeMatha Stags. And that gets us to our game of the night. Let's head over to Fairfax. Paul VI with the ball. That's VJ King with the hesitation and the crossover, and then the layup. He scores and one mixtape style. But then Frank Howard, I can do some of that too. Crossover, he finishes in the paint with the layup. And then on the other side of the ball, Howard showing the work on defense, swatting away DeMatha. But DeMatha, they were still in control because threes are worth more than twos, as Ryan Allen hits that one. But Paul would keep it close. Franklin Howard got the J to fall with the shot clock winding down. But DeMatha still in control, still gets the finish here. DeMatha led by 9 points with 4 minutes left to play, but Paul VI would take the lead with just over 2 to play after on that putback. Final seconds now. DeMatha's last shot. Ryan Allen got a good look, but it did not fall. Paul VI wins this one, 49-46. Here are some of the victors after the game.
We did it on defense. You know, we ended the game on a 15-3 run. But that was just us not settling for jump shots and going to the rim because they were obviously fouling. We got to the free throw line, and we got easy points like that.
Confidence booster also for this team because, you know, obviously the second part of the year we finished down winning 9 of our last 11. And it was really important to us to finish strong. And with a whole new squad of starters and then the whole bench, like, we've really come together. And I thought they did a nice job of that. But every step of the way, gaining more and more confidence. So hopefully this gives us a little bit more confidence to understand how the playoffs are going to be. It's going to come down to the last 2 minutes. It's going to be an absolute, you know, defensive battle. You know, physicality. It's going to be a lot of fun next week. So I think our kids did a nice job of having that type of experience now.
Parkdale and Suitland, they looked really crisp as they should. There's the Suitland fellas, but there is the Parkdale guy, Kane Wilson, hitting the 3 from behind the arc. Suitland on offense, they opt to feed the post. Jalen Barnes, footwork, spin dribble, whatever you want to call it, but call the bucket good. 2 points there for him. Parkdale now, Christian Johnson. I can shoot from behind the arc. Yes, he can. Knocks that one down. Nice in the rhythm of the offense there, stepping into it. Then Parkdale's more of Kane Wilson. Another 3. He was on fire. That man was on fire. Parkdale breaking down the defense. Christian Johnson drives and dishes to Joseph Ideo with the finish right around the rim. Off the Suitland turnover here, Parkdale on the break. Chris Johnson pushes and dishes to who else? Chris and Joe, they're a team. Joe Ideo with the finish there. Timeout Suitland, but game time Parkdale. Final score in this one, Parkdale 69, Suitland 63. To Bladensburg, hosting the Northwestern Wildcats at home. I haven't had a chance to check out that gym. All right, but in the ball game, Bladensburg in transition. Roddy Allen to Prince Obike in the corner. The 3 is money. I just love a 3 in transition. It's such a beautiful thing. All right, Northwestern's David Bell penetrates, kicks to Amilcar Romero. Count the basket. Nice soft touch just in front of the rim. Off the inbounds play, Northwestern executing to perfection. Jared Warwick hits the 3 from the corner with the big hair. Reminds you of LMFAO a little bit. You see it? No, maybe not. All right, Northwestern beating the pressure here. David Bell's pull-up J is good. Swish, high ball. I'm so awesome. All right, Bladensburg is content to wear down the defense. Kayvon Wade in the corner. If some is good, more is better. Bladensburg goes on to win this one 66-52. Ice and snow outside, it puts you in the mindset for some hockey, right? It's playoff time for prep hockey in the area. MAHPL and MSHL are in the thick of things. Let's dip into the quarterfinal action in the 2A MHSL tournament. Yes, indeed. Welcome to the playoffs at the Ice Gardens in Laurel. The Middletown Knights taking on South River in this one. Middletown here, they're going to take a shot, but the puck ultimately would be denied, and in order to get the save, Joe McKinley has to sit on it, but he comes up with it, and that's all that matters is the end result. It was a pretty physical contest. Listen to this. Ooh, checking each other into the boards and whatnot. Very, very competitive hockey game. South River here moving the puck, but it's ultimately going to be a turnover as Liam Katera picks it up and takes it the other way and scores for the Knights. That made the score 2-1 as the guys would huddle up and celebrate. They are the only people enjoying it, the Knights crowd. They like that one as well. We go now to the final seconds of this one. South River trying to tie it up. Gets a look, but the shot on the goal just goes wide in front of the goal. 2-1 would be your final score, and Middletown advances. They'll play Churchill on Monday. Arundel and Annapolis Old Mill in the MHSL 1A regional play in hockey. Another hard-hitting game. Arundel and Green trying to catch Annapolis Old Mill in the third period. Arundel manages to sneak a goal past Adam Childs in the net, so they score there. A little later, Annapolis Old Mill takes their turn. Brendan Hessman scores. There he is, the backhander, top shelf. Annapolis Old Mill, they win this one by a landslide, 8-3. More to come on High School Sports Final. Scanning the area and the highlights from the show, keeping tabs on the best plays. We'll have our plays of the week a little later. Plus, the inspirational story of love and basketball. We'll tell you about Forestville's Jamal Reed. And you have the chance to show us who has the most energetic and spirited high school. Log on to WJLA.com/spirit and tell us why your school is the best. Remember, you can go to our Facebook page at High School Sports Final to select your choice for play of the week. South River moving the puck. Ultimately, it will be a turnover, though. Middletown's Liam Katera comes up with the puck and takes it the other way and scores for the Knights. That made the score 2-1. It was a timely play in that game. All right, and then basketball, Landon's Aaron Bird splitting the big guys. Nice touch using the glass. That's a fancy 2 points, but the Bears would lose the Battle of Bethesda. Football season has been over for months, but now is the time where schools that need to make some changes start to head in different directions, particularly at head coach. Blake has done so with Deshaun Anderson, Carroll has done it with Robert Harris, and now Osborne has done the same. A familiar name that could have gone to a D1 school or even an NFL job perhaps, but instead chose to stay close to home.
I played in big-time games in the NFL, Pro Bowl, played in big-time college games, SEC championship.
We used to watch Chris Samuels anchor the offensive line. Soon he'll be manning the ship. He's now the head football coach at Osborne High School, what he calls his dream job.
The purest form of football for me and the funnest time that I've had, was in high school.
After his 10-year career with the Redskins, Samuels has worn many hats, from interning under Mike Shanahan to coaching alongside Nick Saban at his alma mater, Alabama, which explains why his MO is simple. No nonsense.
Actually, I caught two guys talking while I was talking. Immediately, I put my foot down and let them know that's not the way we're going to do things. I asked both of them, did you want to come up and talk? I'll sit down and let you talk. And they both shut their mouth and they listened. But at the end, though, it was all fun.
Now Samuels has more time to be a family man, watching his son grow, as well as his future players.
It brought me all kind of joy, just to see the kids excited for me to come in and, have the opportunity to coach them. And, I'm really excited. I love football, and just to teach, kids the game, and hopefully kids will, become better people and also receive scholarships.
A huge part of coaching is showing your players how the game should be played. But what if you physically can't? One local coach is taking the lead despite his disability.
I used to have this little circle I put around him, and he would get his little basketball court, and he would take it, and he'd just be dunking and dunking and dunking. And I'm like, okay, we're going to do something with this.
But Jamal would never dunk or play ball or even walk.
He has spinal muscular atrophy, which is weak muscles.
But he wouldn't be denied either.
He said, well, Mom, I still want to be involved in the game. I said, well, what you want to do? I'm behind you 100%. So he said, well, maybe I'll just try this coaching thing.
All right, let's go.
He was determined to get in the game.
Hey, pass and touch. Pass and touch. Well, I started in elementary, my 5th grade year. So I asked them if I could help out and whatever I had to do, and they said sure. But I didn't want to be a manager, so I told them that up front. Yeah.
Or defense?
Yeah, didn't stand.
And that was honored. Jamal served as a student coach through high school and has now been at Forestville for 3 years.
When folks are around and they actually know and understand basketball, there's no second guessing. I mean, they know when he steps on the court, he understands what he's talking about.
Because Jamal is constantly studying the game at a high level.
And the opportunity I get from the University of Maryland, where my best friend played, Tiana Hawkins.
watch practice, everything.
And his dedication as a coach has paid off.
I say I was a bum, but now I consider myself as an elite player just because of Coach Jamal.
But this is much bigger than the sport.
I'm not here just for basketball. I want to do more as far as helping them graduate, getting to college, all that stuff.
I know he is different physically, but mentally he's strong, and that's what carries him on.
Everybody be focused and ready to work. That's about it.
And Jamal hopes he's remembered not for his disability, but for his vibrant personality.
He gave 100% and was always determined to make everyone else better.
Still more as we wrap up this edition of High School Sports Final. As the playoffs get underway, many teams are in the hunt for a title, but few teams have the experience as our guests coming up next. We'll talk with some Warriors hailing from Arlington. Welcome back to High School Sports Final. Basketball playoffs are underway, and one team that is considered a front runner in the Commonwealth of Virginia is Wakefield. The defending Conference 13 and 5A North Region champs pretty much have that team back for another playoff run this year. However, they're looking to go a little bit deeper in the playoffs. Joining us now is Wakefield coach Tony Bentley and senior and 2014 Region Player of the Year Dominic Tham and sharpshooting guard Marquay Walton. How are you, gentlemen?
Wonderful, wonderful.
Thanks for being with us. Obviously, this season, one loss so far. Coach, what has kind of been the philosophy dealing with this group of young men?
Well, we've had these young men since their sophomore years, so experience is the big thing with these guys. We've had an opportunity to play in the conference championship, regional championship, and our motto this year is one thing left. We're trying to get that state tournament.
Dominic, one thing left is the model. You've kind of already been acknowledged in terms of skills. As a senior on this group, it's one thing for coach to say it, but for you to be on the floor in uniform, what is kind of your leadership style?
I mean, being aggressive to my teammates, but also being a good friend to them, talking to them on the court and off the court, and just being a strong leader.
Outstanding. Now, Marquay, we talked about the experience this group has had. How much do you think you guys are better for having had that state run kind of experience?
I mean, having to learn from like our different mistakes from back when we made our run twice. I mean, it just kind of boosted our confidence as a team. Me and Damo, we've been together for like the past 2 years.
All right, so you guys got there, obviously, and you didn't quite clinch it. Now, there's a feeling of experience in terms of been there, done that, and then there's the feeling of experience where we didn't quite get there. Dominique, has that driven you guys this season?
Yeah, it's kind of like motivation, being there the past 2 years. I mean, we've tasted it, and right now, we want it more than anything in the world.
Coach, when you hear your players saying that, I mean, do they live that? Is it something that they just say, or
No,
do they
do. I'm around these guys 24/7. I work at the high school, so I see them a lot. It is strictly about us getting to that championship this year, but not only getting there, but trying our best to win it.
Now, I'm checking out the record thus far this season, and I think besides the 4 games that I've kind of circled, all the margins of victory were over 10 points. Now, how do you, Coach, build such a strong program in a short amount of time?
Well, I mean, I'm fortunate to be at Wakefield. I've had some great players and great coaches with me as well. So it's just something that we've continued to build. We just take our time. We make sure that we win the right way. And, if the score happens to be more than 10, that's fine. Our goal is just to win by 1 every single game.
Now, obviously, you guys have the ultimate goal of one thing left, gentlemen. But have you enjoyed the ride this year? I mean, you only got 1 loss on the season. You're undefeated in conference play. You're I won't say blowing teams out, but you're winning pretty comfortably. Has it been fun?
It's been real fun.
What's been the best part about it as players?
Just being able to be around the team.
Team bonding, yeah. We have a great group of guys.
Now, they always say winning cures everything.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think that because you're winning, the team bonding is at such a high level, or are you genuinely just great friends and teammates?
We're just great friends. I mean, I think more than half of us have been together our 4 years of high school. So it's been really good.
Wow. Now, I'm sure, Dominic, that had to have come with a little bit of adversity, some bumps and bruises, right? I mean, that's just part of being teammates. What is maybe an experience that you guys had this season that you can pinpoint to say, we really grew from that? Even if it's just a tough drill in practice, I mean, has there been a moment like that?
Yes, there has. When we lost to Eastern.
Okay.
By 1 point, and as me being a leader, a senior, I blame that loss on us because on me because I took a really bad shot, like during crunch time, and I learned from that.
Dominic, to hear your teammates say that, and I'm sure you said that to your team after the game, what goes through your mind when you hear a fellow teammate take up for his mistake?
I mean, I don't want him to take all the blame for it, because it was a team effort and we're a team. So, I mean, I would say like the whole team, it was the whole team, we played bad, I guess. So it was just a team effort.
Coach, we talk about accountability amongst these young guys. It doesn't sound like that's something that is off in the distance for them. They really get it.
They do. I mean, the Eastern game, we refer back to that. It's a learning lesson. We went over, we lost the game, shook hands, and then we learned from it. And I think we've been on a 20-something game win streak after. So you can tell that these guys have learned from their mistakes and take credit, give Eastern the credit. They played, they came to play. We should have never had ourselves in that situation. We learned from it, and then we move forward.
All right, well, that's all the time we have. Now, Wakefield, gentlemen and coach, good luck the rest of the way. Thanks for joining us.
So much.
That's all for this edition of High School Sports Final. Don't forget, you can catch every single highlight and story that you saw on our webpage, hssportsfinal.com, plus updates on games during the week. Like us on Facebook and vote for your Play of the Week. For all the cast and crew behind the scenes and the highlights, I'm Monica McNutt. We'll see you again next week.